Hello and welcome back to an episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. Anyway, because I love you all as much as I love avocado and eggplant, today we are going to cover the best helmsmen in science fiction, those pilots who are responsible for steering larger ships. Whereas fighter pilots are the mavericks of the skies, a helmsman cannot be so rogue, as his decisions affect the lives of the crew members on board. And of course, one fighter goes down, whatever, spilled milk. But larger, multi-billion-dollar ships, that's a bigger deal. F-22 Raptors be like, am I nothing to you? TLDR, helmsmen need to be the best of the best, highly intelligent, brave, and skilled, or all could be lost. So here are the top 6 helmsmen to ever do it.
Don't even think of trying to tell me what I can or cannot do with my ship after that little speech.
At number 6 we have Niobe from The Matrix. Niobe was one of the most legendary members of the Resistance in their war against the machines. She captained and piloted the rebel ships Logos and Logos II, and is the only pilot on this list who helmed spacecrafts in the real universe.
Shit, she's got a fat ass.
Niobe was a no-nonsense pilot who didn't panic under pressure, even from encroaching machines. Skill-wise, she was probably the best pilot in the entire Resistance. Perhaps her greatest feat was piloting a hovercraft known as Mjolnir through mechanical lines, which were narrow, cluttered tunnels that the machines used to traverse the real world. And she did so while under pursuit by Sentinels.
You ate my kidney? I thought it was one of Hermes' exotic lunches!
At number 5 we have Leela from Futurama, the pilot and captain of the Planet Express ship. Unlike most of the other pilots on this list, Leela did not grow up in an environment in which she was immersed in ship culture. Instead, she was an orphan, but her rough upbringing instilled her with the qualities that eventually led her to become such a bold pilot. Simply said, the world pissed her off young, and her toughness made her determined. Her resilience made her the perfect person to steer a ship through dangerous obstacles. It's hard to say exactly how she became so good at flying, but the streets have a knack for teaching people who grow up on them to figure things out on the fly, because if you don't, you die. At the helm of the Planet Express, Leela proved herself to be a headstrong leader and careful decision maker. With only one eye, depth perception was a weakness of hers, but this kind of made space the perfect place for her, as things are far enough away that depth doesn't so much matter there. And whereas other pilots on this list might have battled more depraved enemies, Leela had the unfortunate circumstance of existing in a Looney Tunes-like reality where the most ridiculous of things could happen. Not an easy task for a pilot trying to make exact calculations.
It's not an option, it's a suicide run. We don't...
I can do it.
Joker?
I can do it.
At number 4 we have Jeff Joker Moreau from Mass Effect, the pilot of the SSV Normandy. Joker was born with Rolex syndrome, a disease that causes brittle bones, but just because one can't walk doesn't mean one cannot fly. As his mother was a civilian contractor, Joker grew up on a space station and thus was always around ships as a boy and became fascinated with them. As soon as he was old enough, he joined the Alliance Navy, where he very quickly surpassed everyone in piloting skills, including his instructors. When the SSV Normandy, an Experimental Systems Alliance stealth frigate, was first introduced, Joker applied for the position of the ship's pilot, but was rejected because of his disability. And so in order to prove himself, he stole the ship, the Alliance's most advanced frigate, and demonstrated his skills, convincing officials to give him the job. Because he couldn't walk, Joker kind of made for the perfect pilot. He rarely left the ship's bridge, so he became one with the ship's controls, his chair molded to his body, and the only true threats to the Normandy, with him at the helm, were blood clots. Joker was arrogant about his skills, but he had a right to be cocky. He was possibly the Alliance's best pilot, and he pulled off maneuvers that other helmsmen would have thought impossible.
You will also appear to have killed him after a fierce battle. Regrettable, but it will leave me in command.
At number 3 is Hikaru Sulu. Born in San Francisco sometime around the middle of the 23rd century, Sulu entered Starfleet Academy, where he was trained as a pilot. Sulu would go on to serve aboard multiple Federation starships, including most famously the USS Enterprise under James T. Kirk. Sulu was a bit of an eccentric guy.
Stand! No father.
But he was no joke as a pilot. He was extremely smart and had a deep knowledge of science, history, and most importantly, all sorts of different space vessels. Sulu's personality and smarts are more in line with what one would expect of a captain or a commander, which is why it should come as no surprise that he was a leader people often looked to on the bridge and why he would often take command in the absence of Kirk and Spock. Actually, in 2290, Sulu was given his own command aboard the USS Excelsior. Make no mistake though, Sulu was one of the best pure helmsmen there ever was. He accomplished some of the greatest piloting feats in Starfleet history and was the guy you wanted at the wheel when trying to pull off crazy maneuvers like time warp slingshot jumps around the sun.
I'm a leaf on the wind. Watch how I soar.
At number 2 we have Wash from Serenity. Hoban Washburn was the pilot of the eponymous Serenity, a Firefly-class transport ship. Some men become pilots for the adventure, some because they love space. But having been born on a planet with smog so thick that it blanketed the sky, Wash went to flight school so that he could one day see the stars. Wash's personality was a bit unpredictable, in that he sometimes seemed the most cowardly among the crew, and then at other times he would risk his life to save those aboard the ship. I guess the best way to explain this is to say that Wash was a loyal guy, who, even if he wasn't naturally the bravest pilot ever, he'd push himself to do whatever necessary to keep those he cared about safe. And to me, that quality makes for a hell of a man. When flying the Serenity, in line with his personality, Wash would often seem panicked, but in situations of utmost danger, his panic would give way to valiance, as his adrenaline turned him from nebbish pilot to badass aeronaut, as he soared through the skies like a leaf on the wind. The only true weakness that Wash had was having too big of a heart. Well, also harpoons.
All right, cowboys and cowgirl, here comes the juice.
At number 1, this list would not be complete without Alex Kamal, pilot of the Rocinante. Now, some might wonder about Alex being number 1 here, but I think people don't realize how incredible he is at flying. He handles the Rocinante so well, one might believe it's a starfighter, not a frigate. Born on Mars, Alex learned to fly during his time in the Martian Congressional Republic Navy. But it wasn't until he ended up as part of the crew of the Rocinante following his military career that he truly shined. What's sort of interesting about Alex is that he doesn't exude the confidence that one might expect from a pilot. He's rather milquetoast and a bit of a pushover at times, but make no mistake, he was born to fly, and when in the cockpit he is one of the best pilots in the Sol system, despite garnering little recognition for his talents. Actually, not too different from Wash, I suppose. As a man, Alex is a bit of a dork, but as a pilot, his willpower increases tenfold. A perfectionist, Alex thinks about every detail of ensuing battles, preparing meticulously. He accelerates into high G burns without fear, keeping his composure and tight control over the ship as well. He's also a master of the quick flip and burn to decelerate towards a target, and in battle, he perhaps exercises superior flying precision to any pilot we've ever witnessed. In Alex's hands, ships don't fly, they fall in style. Anyway, those are all the pilots. If you liked the video, please do give it a big thumbs up. As always, let me know in the comments how stupid I've been in this video and all the great helmsmen that I missed. I want to see what you have to say. Remember to subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and yay. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.